And guys, just so you know, we want to implement StayCompass aggressively in the new year. So, starting as early as the 3rd on your first project. Some are going to be signed up when you're physically at the property. There are 2 things that are initially asked from the reps, and I'm going to answer those, put this to rest right away. Number 1 is, how will the clients know that StayCompass exists? The property will select 2 ways in which to promote the actual app at the property level so that the guests will know it exists. 1 will be at the point of check-in, and then 2, there will be tent cards available in the rooms. There may be some other options as well. It just depends on the property. But there are a minimum of 2 opportunities for which property will have the opportunity to promote. So from the advertiser standpoint, they'll always ask you, well, how will we know that this app is being promoted? That's how they'll know. So the traction will build over time. So if we don't currently have a property contract in place remotely, then we will be sending an actual contract in the package with your print information, and then you'll be responsible for just to stop by the office of the general manager, have an initial and sign it, and we're good to go. All right, without further ado, I've got in front of us a presentation doc. This is more of a detailed doc for you and your own records. This is not something you necessarily need to send out to the client. We're going to talk about, I know in the next week, putting together a 1-page doc that you guys can email out to the client. We haven't gotten that complete yet because there are some changes to the app, and there's some modifications that have that are being made. And they're going to make the app even that much more popular and successful as a whole for you guys. Brian, who's on this call, Brian actually is a part of the development team and one of the principal people behind the design and scheme of the actual StayCompass product. He will share with us a little bit about some of the new features and items that we have coming down the pike. And then from there, I will actually go through this presentation and talk about some of the different items that you can sell in the app and how we can begin to promote this with our print projects and in some cases a standalone project. So Brian, if you could go ahead and just share with us and start. And I know, Brian, since you don't have any materials that we can physically look at, perhaps after this call, you can email Lisa a summation of some of the things that you're sharing, and then Lisa can send it off to everybody on the call. One other thing, guys, really quick. At the end of each section that we will cover today, I like to have some Q&A so that things are fresh in your mind. We can answer those questions. Brian, if you could, just go ahead and share with us a little bit about the new product, some of the new changes.
Okay. Yeah, this is Brian Bassett with StayCompass, and we do have a number of things that are coming. The big one we're going to release at the same, for both iOS and Android at the same time, is a recoding of the whole app, which you shouldn't see much difference on the user end outside of some speed increases and how pages come up, and hopefully we'll solve some of our display of issues that we've been having with pictures and so forth for some of the properties we've presented out there. That's been our biggest issue so far. We're trying just getting quality pictures from these properties so we can present them well. But we do have close to 100 properties out there right now, over 500 ads out there in all these various markets. We have really strong, robust amenities capabilities for the properties to promote all their different functions and amenities that they have in their rooms and on site, with the hot links to their Facebook, Twitter, their website, reservations, all those kind of things. If they have a restaurant on site, really some nice things. A call button, so you just have to push a button. It comes up with the hotel's phone number and ask you if you want to call. Some really nice things like that. We have a chat engagement, or what you might call a request management function, where the visitor guest can communicate directly with the front desk. So things like that we really don't see the hotels using right now. It's something I think they would really benefit from if they put them in action. They can also promote anything that's special coming on the property with on site for the hotels. If it's a special offering that's coming up, if it's a new feature at the swimming pool, or an amenity that they're starting to offer, a higher speed Wi-Fi or what have you. Those are really nice things that they should be able to get out there as it's happening, which is pretty nice. We do have a broadcast message too, so the hotel can broadcast to all the guests anything that may be going on the property, whether it be maintenance of the pool or what have you, parking lot, special parking areas, or things of that nature, or events or features or events that might be going on there. We have analytics. Our new coding will have better weather app on it that will have forecasting and so forth. That's going to be pretty nice. That's coming up. We have the real-time back end that's all credentialed, so you can, select a single point of reference at a hotel or user that can also administer other users on that property to have access to make changes, etc. Really nice thing to have. We're going to be incorporating the streaming video capability for sporting events, movies, what have you, anything that the eStream company has to offer for those properties that have the eStream product. I just put on the first 2 hotels for this. We have the Chancellor, the Chancellor Hotel and Hotel Diva. Hotel Diva has excellent graphics out there. Take a look at it. As soon as we get some ads for it, we're going to really probably want to promote the heck out of that place. And Chancellor looks pretty good with the pictures we were able to get for it. And they both have the eStream streaming video capability. So in a nutshell, those are some of the things that are coming out. Lisa, I believe, has a list of everything that we're doing currently and some of the list of the features that we have coming here very quickly. And bear in mind right now, the eStream product, we're waiting on them to give us point to reference on their category listing in the amenities. So right now it's just going to their website. As soon as we get that, it'll be full featured on the streaming video side and it'll go to where it needs to go. But until then, I'm waiting for their person to provide that bit of information to us so we can plug it in there. We get some advertising out there and these features such as the back end, the reservation link, the analytics, the weather, the broadcast messaging capability, all those things are huge selling points to these properties. And the fact that it's available up to date and available for both iOS and Android, it's a great product. Thank you.
Is the product right now available in the market? Literally, can they download it as is? Or are we talking it's close to being complete? I'm sure someone's going to have to figure that out now.
Oh, it's currently out there and available in its Ionic code, which it has been from its inception. We are recoding it in a coding called React, which is the same thing Facebook uses, for the purpose of just modernizing it a little bit and keeping it more current. We weren't able to code it in React originally, but the Ionic has served us really well. And like I say, from the user perspective, it will be virtually indistinguishable from one to the other. You might see some buttons that look different and formatting of some of the amenity pages might look a little different. That's about it, honestly. It's all live now. Yes, Hotel Chancellor, Hotel Diva are live in San Francisco. If you pull those up, they're good, ready to go. We've been adding hotels pretty regularly, pretty steadily here the last couple of weeks.
If you're called in, you want to ask a question while we're in this section, please do so.
How do we sell this? How should you present it?
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet. We'll get to that when I start covering how to sell. But any questions specifically about the technology and some of the changes, some of the functions at all that Brian had presented thus far?
Heather is asking about eStream. She's not familiar with it. Are you going to be discussing any of that today?
Other than what Brian has shared, Brian, is there anything else that you would want to add to that? Or would there be some information in the email that would help people understand a little bit more about that?
What I do know is that I know eStream's looking into the process. They have a set-top box in each of the rooms in their properties, and I think we've got about 50 that we're aware of right now, properties that they have in communities like San Francisco, New York City, Chicago, Dallas, etc. And the set-top box is actually going to present StayCompass to the user, to the guest at the hotel, which will be really nice. Then they will be able to get on StayCompass and be able to get access what they see or what they have available to them on their set-top box through StayCompass. So it'll be kind of, what I want to say, a commingling of the guest room experience to their out-of-room experience. They'll be able to take eStream with them, so to speak.
Yeah, guys, let me explain that to you just in a nutshell. If you're not at all familiar with set-box systems, it's the system that runs the television stations and the channels and all of the features of the television inside of the room. So the smart TVs, the hotels. Some of these hotels we do not have print contracts with, but we'll be able to sell the actual digital component in advertising. Now, what Brian was saying, being able to take it with you, what that means is if you're watching a movie, for example, you can go down to the front desk and watch that movie. Or if you're at the pool, you can watch that movie. The reason why we want to have engagement in the app such that it's hard for them to drop or let the app down is the more engagement that they have with the app, the more eyeballs that are engaged, the more opportunity for us to be able to sell advertising that can stick And that's really valuable to the advertiser. The advertiser wants to know, is that client going to have access to that all the time? Yeah, when they leave the property, they'll still have access to that app in their hands. Why? Because of these cool features. Now, also, too, really quick question I think I would have, and I'm sure others may have the same, Brian, is when it comes to the video feed, is the video feed only available when they're on property? Meaning, if they were to leave the property, is that video feed now available, or is it within a certain, jurisdiction that video continues to run?
My understanding, as long as they're on the app and using the eStream access from the app, that video feed will be available to them from then on, whatever that it is that particular property has available. There's particular packages that they provide to each of the properties, but they'll have that video feed for whatever that property that they had access through was available to them there. If they get StayCompass on their phone, they will have all that advertising and everything else that's available on StayCompass to them. So, and promotions, real time, those kind of things, which are really sweet.
Any other questions, Lisa?
Yes, two more. First, is there a way to add the review so hotels buy in?
Not sure I understand the question. So the person who asked it could unmute their phone, perhaps, but I don't really understand the question. Brian, do you?
I'm not really sure I understand the question either. He kind of added to it just now. Review us online like a TripAdvisor review. I guess we have a button or a link, a hot link in the app for TripAdvisor or whatever reviews they particularly want to have associated. We do TripAdvisor by default. Some properties have requested us to use specific reviews, directed us to have the link go to specific reviews for that property, but TripAdvisor is what we typically use. Heather, out there, your chat message for eStream, is it limited to certain properties? Yes, the eStream app will only be available to those properties that are signed up for eStream, the eStream component in the amenities and explore category or tabs.
And currently with eStream, Brian, there's 2 properties that are already on board, and they're in San Francisco. Is that correct?
That's the only 2 I have active right now. We're working on 15 currently in San Francisco, Chicago, New York City, and Las Vegas. Once we finish those, we'll have, I believe it's 15. That may be changing. I saw emails a second ago that look like that might be up or down a few. I mean, the eStream component as to how the reps sell it, I believe that's a question mark. I don't know anything on that side.
Heather has a question. Is that something we can sell in the field to properties?
What part are we talking, Lisa? Clarify the question. Is it they talking about selling the StayCompass or eStream? What exactly? I don't know.
He specifically asked about eStream.
Oh, okay. I don't know about that. That would be an eStream question, and they're not on the call to represent that. So I don't know. It's Jim. Jim, are you on the call? I wasn't sure if Jim can answer that question or not.
What was the question?
If they can sell eStream to properties, and again, I'm not reading from the chat question, but I think that's what it's saying, Brian. Is that pretty fair?
Currently, no, they can't.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding some of the tweaks in technology regarding the things that Brian have shared? Any other questions regarding that? Brian, can you stay on the call just in case we have come across some things that they may have some questions on that I'm going to cover?
Absolutely. I plan to.
Cool. Okay, guys, what I wanted to talk about first and foremost is if you're on this call, if you've not downloaded the app, I realized that the last time we did one of these trainings, we had unleashed a prototype of the app. And so a lot of the reps kept the prototype on their phones when they should have really deleted that prototype and actually gone to the App Store to download the real app or to Google Play. So what I want to say to you right now, if you're on this call, don't have the app on your phone, one of the hardest things to do is to sell something you haven't experienced yourself. So I would encourage you, make sure you have the app. Again, the current app, not the prototype, because it's totally different. Make sure you have the app on your phone so that you can get a chance to play with it. And not only that, but when you've got the app on your phone, you're in front of an advertiser, you can show them the functions of the app rather than just talk. We do have a training that we have online. At that training in the past, I actually did what we call a mirroring of the actual app. I was playing with the app. This particular one we're doing today, I don't have the technology working today, so I can't show you the functions of the app as I talk to you. So please, by all means, download the app so you can play with that. So let's talk about the app. Let's talk about some of the features and selling the portions of the app that you're going to have access to. As an actual rep, every single advertiser you now will see you'll have the ability to sell not only print to, but also digital. And why is that important? Here's why I believe it's extremely important. Because a lot of advertisers want both. They want to be able to get access to those guests while those guests are in the rooms. But if you can give them an opportunity to get access to the guests when they leave the property as well, they're on board with that. And so we have 3 ways in which that can occur. If you'll open up, if you've got your phone with you, if you've got the actual app with you, you'll see that we have 3 sections. We have what we call our Explore section in the app. And when you click on the Explore section of the app, here's how we want to present that. It works just like print. So if someone says, I really like the stagnant, I want to keep my ad the same. I don't mind the one photo, a paragraph, phone number, but there's no call button, guys. I don't want to keep that in mind, okay? So you can see what I mean when I show you the other option. They can have pretty much everything they have in print. The difference is they can also have a direction. So they can actually have where we can click on directions, goes directly to the app directions or the Google directions. That type of app ad inside the Explorer is not changeable. You cannot edit it. You cannot change it, just like print. But what we're finding is a lot of people want to do something different. They want to not only have the print ad, they want to have a digital ad that has a lot more bells and whistles. And this is what the preferred advertisers get. Preferred advertisers get a sliding wheel at the very top of the app with up to 6 images. And these are usually, if it's a restaurant, there'll be some pictures of some really nice. That ad may not be looked at as much as the ones with very nice, bright, vibrant images, really nicely shot. So I would definitely encourage to have a professional shoot it, but not just represent them well, but what I would encourage that you do is really encourage that they get the best possible presentation of photos, because we can only build from what they provide. So Brian and his team will design this, but they'll get 6 actual images at the very top of the screen. Next to that, they'll get their address placement. They'll go call button. The call button is really cool because they'll be able to, the guest will be able to push a button directly from the app that will call that restaurant, call that tour company, call that attraction company in real time, right there on the spot. They'll call directly from the app. That's brilliant, brilliant. Compared to the print, again, you don't have that. Yeah, you can dial a number, but you don't have a button you can push directly from the print digital or from the print app. You'll also have this really cool feature, 2 paragraphs of information, but you'll have this floating red button. It's really cool. It stays with the actual ad. As you're looking through the actual app, you'll see this red button. Well, if you click on that red button will feature specials and discounts and offerings. And what's really nice about that, because the advertiser has the capability of changing his ad under the preferred section, they can go in and create a special around maybe a particular season, or around particular specials and things that they've got coming in, and they can change that based on the traction. So let's say they've got an ad and they've got their special in there, and the special is doing really, really well. They want to probably keep that special, but let's say the special is not doing so well and they want to see what else they can do. They can change that. They can change it once a week. They can change it twice a week. They can change how much they want. It doesn't matter. It's really up to them. But the cool part about it, they have something in the actual app that they can track based on the special offering that they put out there. So it's impressive to have that. The Map Connect, as I mentioned before, they'll have the real-time mapping. So not only have information in the ad, but they'll be able to get to the actual location of the place they want to service. So you've got that information. The site link, so the actual website directly from the app, directly to the brand, or more about the business. If there's a restaurant involved, have a menu link directly in the app, directly to their site. Social media, obviously, a lot of times they want you to like their page or connect with them, engage with them on social media. They'll have that feature. The content control, as I mentioned before, they'll be able to log in with credentials and get in and change things. I'm not really sure about the beacon part right now. Brian, is there any status on that? Will that be available on this new update?
The beacon's been available for a long time. It's got to be an optional piece because there's hardware components that need to be procured for that, and they need to be managed individually. It just takes a lot of work. And that goes for advertisers as well, not just the hotels. Right. Anybody can use them, and it's an awesome piece of hardware that can be put in, say, a restaurant that has maybe poor cell reception in a certain area, and they can certainly promote anything internally. Think of beacons as near field communications. They're fairly close. You got to be close to them within you can go up to maybe 3 blocks away, but that lessens the life of the batteries in them. They can be remotely monitored, remotely updated, edited, those kind of things. So beacons are really kind of a trick item for close communications.
That's not something I would bring up then, guys, right now, since it seems to be a little bit more information that we want to get into that, a little bit more tedious at present. But the preferred items, these are bullet points. And if you don't have a copy of this presentation, you just want to shoot an email to either Lisa or myself, and we'll make sure you get a copy of this. And again, there are bullet points from this particular presentation, and you can use with the advertiser. You could actually take this with you. If you got your iPad, you can just share some of these items when you go through your presentation. But we are, like I said, going to be working on a one-page talk as well. And then finally, this really cool section here is called the sponsor category. If you've got a copy of the ad, if you've got a copy of the app on your phone, you'll notice that there's a banner ad at the very top. You see the sample here to the right where I've got the Skydive Lake Tahoe. That initially when we built it just had a little image, but now it's a complete banner ad. What that banner ad does is it never moves in that category. So let's say someone selects the category sports and recreation. That means that banner ad, no matter what you look at below the banner ad stays at the top as a sponsored ad. Click on that sponsored ad, it'll take you directly into a preferred ad, in this case Skydive Lake Tahoe. They're a restaurant, they can actually select that area in the restaurant area. If there's attractions, if there's a day spa, whatever the category is, if they fit that category, they can actually buy a sponsored banner in that category. So that is valuable for them because now you're talking throughout the app in a particular category, they will always be prominently placed. So that's called our sponsor category, preferred category, and explore category. I will be sending you, if you don't have a copy of it thus far, an actual list of the pricing points for the advertising so that you'll know exactly what the prices are when you go through these different categories. Right here, you can see what the categories look like. We have a whole bunch of categories from which you can sell, and especially for you guys who put yourself in a box and you only sell restaurants, you need to understand your dollars, not only in the print work. Any questions before we go through forms on any of the different types, please ask that at this time. So I'm going to go through some forms with you, guidelines. And if you're with One Stop and you're on this call, you'll have the exact same form. You'll know exactly what size images you need to get. Details of that are laid out for you. If you're dealing with North American, just like we do for print, that information will be going to Kirk. And if you're dealing with One Stop, the information will be going to Steve. And all of that will be in the document. If you don't have this information thus far, just mention it to Lisa. She'll make sure that you have access to a packet for your next project in January. So you will be getting copies of the things that I'm showing you today. Let me show you what the agreement looks like. Similar to what we do currently with our print agreement, you'll be making sure that you fill out contact information, name of the business. Unlike as we build there, that information is going to be in there. So the location, all that. Type of business, the category, because we do have categories listed in our Explore section, we need to know. Are they buying an Explore ad, preferred ad, or a sponsor? We want you to just do a check next to the particular one in which they want to buy. Ad durations, they can purchase. We prefer that they purchase a 12-month, but if they were to say, hey, I want to try it out, they can't do a 1 month, they can do a 3 month. And you can check that off there. The ad cost is here. How are they paying? If there's any funds due, if there's a check number, you put that in there. ACH information there. If they're doing by credit card, fill that out. At the very bottom, make sure that they authorize you sign just like we do the current print contract. And again, you'll have one of these for North American Director. If you're doing it for One Stop, you'll have the appropriate information and forms mailed to you prior to your next project. The last thing I'm going to show you is the hotel agreement. I'll show you one. This is a sample one that I filled out earlier in the year. But what you do is you fill out the date. Now, keep in mind, in some cases, you're going to properties that already have a contract in place with us. If they do not currently have a contract in place with us, you will have a copy of an ADS or a one-stop agreement for StayCompass. And in those cases, you just need to make sure you get these filled out by the property. I always pre-fill these out prior to going in. To make sure you have the hotel name right next to it in parentheses, how many rooms they have, the address, city, state, zip code, the general manager, the title and the name, the person you're dealing with there, and the email address. And then finally, at the very bottom, you'll see Section 5 of the agreement talks about ways in which they can promote the app. If they're wanting to work with us on particularly promoting it, we have to have a minimum of 2 of these, but we need to know how they can and cannot do it. So like landing pages and check-in, and most of them can do TV tent cards. In those cases, you guys just need to let us know by circling which they prefer to do, and we're going to give you this free app. They've already been contacted about the free app. They just may not have signed it already. And then also when it comes to room nights, normal agreements require that, but because you're working with projects, you do not have to sign any room night requests because we already have those room nights already taken care of through our print contract. That's why it says 0 here. You would put 0 here. Now, if you were to go after a property that currently does not have a print contract with us, or they don't do guest directories, let me know and I'll help you work out those types of relationships direct. In those cases, you actually would be getting room nights because we would need room nights to sell those types. Any questions regarding the product information, the actual guideline, ad agreement, or hotel agreement at this time? You see anything coming through, Lisa?
Rob Simpson has a suggestion. Make forms separately for 3, 6, 12 months. When a customer sees they can do the minimum, they usually choose the minimum.
Jim, that's up to your question. I guess we could always just create, however you want to do it. That's something the office has to make a decision on, Jim.
That'd be an awful lot of forms to be printing and sending out.
Aren't we trying to do more electronic since we have the dashboard?
From the office here, probably 90% of the jobs that we send out are all mailed off to.
Jim, can you repeat that again? Because what you said was cut off.
If we did each farm with 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year, that'd be an awful lot of forms we'd be sending out to each and every rep. If we send out a package, at least 90% of them, we still send out packages. So that would just increase our costs and shipping, printing forms, and all that.
The best way to approach it, guys, just so you know, is you pitch your 1 year, period. And then here's what you do. You discourage a 3 month and a 6 month by increasing the price point monthly. So let's say annual is $400 for a paid in full annual. Well, if they want to do 6 months, make it $350 for a 6 month period. They're going to look at you and say, well, I don't want to do that. It makes no sense. Figure out the numbers that work well with you. But at the end of the day, the best discount comes on an annual commitment. It doesn't come on a 3 or 4 month or a 6 month. And you can work those. You'll have no problem with it.
Can everybody hear me? This is Brian. I've been answering quite a few of the questions in line in the chat box just to save time and to be timely.
Oh, perfect.
So anyway, everybody's I'm happy to take any questions you have. So
real quick, Lisa, questions are being answered in the chat. Can you make a copy of all the archive of the questions? And then the other thing too, guys, if you're on the call, you can shoot me an email direct and you go and send it to Mark, M-A-R-C, at guidetoguest.com. I'll send you the rate information. If you have any questions regarding how to sell this, even after this call, I would suggest 2 things. Number 1, make sure you have the app on your phone. And again, make sure it's not a prototype from 8 months ago or 6, 7 months ago. Make sure it's the new app from either the App Store and then play with it. Play with it before your next project. So you got to know what you're selling. So get to know it. If you have any questions after that, reach out to me. We can set up a one-on-one where I can spend some time with you. All right. If there's no other questions, that's what I wanted to cover today. And one other thing, if you need to just download the app and you don't want to chase it through the stores, you can go directly to our website at StayCompass.com. And there as well, you can download the app and you can also download this presentation information that I've sent you today, or shown you today. Guys, I want to thank you so much for attending today. Look forward to taking StayCompass to the next level. We can only do that with your help.